So I'm not exactly sure what to call this video because it's inspired by all the ridiculous tunes that have been released by Scopely as of late. So it kind of all started with Camila, who was the first Generation 2 6-star, basically a 7-star, but they enhanced the 6-star stats by about 500 points in total. There was nothing truly game-breaking with her, but she was the first Generation 2 6-star. The first ridiculous tune that Scopely released, in my opinion, was Alice. Ever since she was released, it seems like the tunes have gotten more and more powerful. Her leadership skill and rush, combined with Diego and either Sean or Alpha, created a very powerful turn 3 attack team that was almost impossible to stop at the time. She's still a great lead that is used by many. Another ridiculous tune that was released was the 6-star Maggie. Her and John have Generation 1 stats, but were released in the Generation 2 era. These two free-to-play tunes got shafted, not to mention, in John's case, he has an 85 AP rush, which is very slow. I expected a lot more out of Scopely on those two tunes. The next tune that we'll be looking at is Pamela. Pamela only became kind of ridiculous when Scopely started to release all these strong and alert tunes that complemented her leadership skill. It's a little frustrating to me talking about how good some tunes are and how terrible other tunes are comparatively. The current state of a game is not about who has the best strategy or can outthink the opponent, but who has the most amount of money and can buy the new promo tune that is relevant for the first week or two. Anyway, the next ridiculous tune that Scopely released was Dale. When Dale was first released, MAME wasn't fixed, meaning he was able to apply 400 MAME damage to the other team, break Guardian shields, and apply minus 60 defense no matter what. Now, MAME has been fixed so that it can be blocked by Guardian. The next two tunes that I look at are Guardian Rick and Guardian Douglas. In my opinion, Guardian Rick is much better than Douglas. He can be used on offense or defense and is a great controller. The biggest downside to Rick is his active skill, because he will use his active skill just for the AP gain on defense, even if no one is dead. So by comparison, Douglas is a lot easier to obtain than Rick. Therefore, I guess it makes sense that Douglas is not as good as Rick, but I wish he was better. The next tune that we look at that I think is ridiculous is Michelle. She is really good, especially for being a free-to-play tune. I think she's one of the best tunes that Scopely has ever given the free-to-play community. The next ridiculous tune that we look at is Amber. With her rush, follow-up ability, weapon, and active skill, she is a beast on offense. She is used by some of the top players in order to finish matches between 1 to 3 turns. I've seen some teams run 2 of them on offense to great effectiveness. The next tune to make my list is Denise, and I really don't like her. I don't find her rush to be that effective, or her specialist skill being neutralized, and especially her active skill. It's just too slow to be effective, in my opinion. Possibly with the new AI, she might be slightly better on defense, but I wouldn't run her myself. The next tune to make my list is Zachary, and I think he is one of the worst things to happen to the game. He is just such a dense tune and is capable of doing so much damage to the opponent on either offense or defense. With such a fast rush at 66 AP and being able to do 1000 MAME damage to the opponent, when people run 2 of them on defense, they are sometimes able to kill the attacker on turn 1 or 2. Even if you have 1 of them and run them on defense, they are able to apply minus 20 AP to the opponent, to every single tomb. Add in, he's able to cause all teammates to recover from all penalties. This is stun, taunt, confuse, impair, bleed, burn, defense down, you name it. To top up his rush, he is able to regain 100% of his max HP. Also, his active skill is able to stun one opponent for 4 turns, And on defense, he's using this ability less. Finally, his weapon pairs well with his specialist skill of Lacerate, but you can also craft him a stun gun. The next ridiculous toon to make my list is Dr. Stevens. He is one of a kind. I've seen some really amazing teams, both on offense and defense, constructed with him as the centerpiece. His rush is able to taunt and impair up to 3 enemies for 1 turn. His active skill allows him to rush on the first turn by using a command toon. He is able to recover from being disarmed, which pairs well with his weapon, and he gives 2 teammates plus 60% AP, which is almost guaranteeing them rushing the next turn with a commander. His stats are heavy defense and HP, which pairs well with vitality, which helps him stay alive longer. People who have Dr. Stevens are able to run very aggressive teams on offense. By taunting toons into his weapon, he is able to give plus 40% AP to 2 other teammates. This could occur 3 times if all 3 taunted toons attack Dr. Stevens. The next toon to make my list is Raven. She is quite unique by having a turn 1 active skill that gives elusive to all teammates excluding herself. This is basically Holly's Rush as an active skill. By applying elusive to her teammates, she makes herself the only target that the opponent can gain AP on. Her specialist skill, Indomitable, helps protect her from being dogpiled. When toons attack Raven, they risk losing 40 AP every time they attack because of her unique weapon. The next toon that made my list is Leon. I think Scopely really dropped the ball with him. Although his specialist skill is Decapitation, he just doesn't attack strong enough for him to be very effective, in my opinion. He could definitely have some uses, but compared to a toon like Michelle, or Regina, or Charlie, he really does drop off. Other than his rush, his active skill is also subpar, by only doing 50% heal reduction. The next toon on my list is Olivia, who was the first toon to have the ability Slow, which makes it cost more AP for a toon to rush. She is also a very dense toon. Her rush is quite good, but it does cost 85 AP. Her active skill, as its name Slow, really does slow down matches when attacking this toon. She is a true stalling toon, especially with her specialist skill being Guardian 2. Her weapon is also heavily defensive, making her very tanky. The next ridiculous toon is Negan. He had the new specialist skill Payback, which basically prevented full team wipeouts by using Sean, Alpha, Alice, and Diego combos. He is a very unique toon, and he slows down a lot of matches for attacking players. Moreover, you're very likely to end up killing your own team if you end up facing 2 of these on defense. It should also be noted that if you do more than 30% damage to the toon's max HP in a rush or active skill, you will always trigger Payback. There is no way to neutralize it other than by having a Guardian Shield, which blocks it. Negan's fast rush also gives his teammates 100% defense for 2 turns, making him the primary target. Negan's active skill isn't the best, and his weapon is another bound weapon. This could be a useful weapon if the attacker does not have a human shield. The next ridiculously good toon that came out was Mia. I've had matches where 2 of them are being run, and there's at least 5 revives that occur, either by her active skill or her rush. With the changes made to Outlast, where when the character is defeated, they get 100% AP during Outlast, this can be a very daunting issue. Add in that when she rushes to revive someone, she does 2,500 MAME damage, which is flat damage that ignores defense. Although it can be blocked by a MAME resist mod or a Guardian Shield, it is still a major issue. When she is in Outlast, she cannot be targeted by a specific attack, but can be targeted by a status effect. This can help with stopping her from using her active skill or her rush. Mia does not have a bound weapon, which means you can easily put on a stun gun on her. The next ridiculous toon that actually bothers me a lot is 6-star Jackson, who's our first legacy toon in a long time. So what I don't like about Jackson is that he has heavy defensive and HP stats, although he's a melee attack lead with plus 40% attack, but only a very large bonus to AP when attacking. By running Jackson as a lead, you're losing an attacker's spot, similar to running Blue Carl. Jackson also has a pretty weak adrenaline rush. His rush does a minimal amount of damage because his attack stat is so low. His rush is designed to regain HP for his teammates and recover from attack penalties. I would have liked to see Jackson do more damage on his rush as well as have heavier attack stats. Jackson's active skill is also kind of underwhelming by only recovering stun and impair to 2 teammates. On the plus side, Jackson does not have a bound weapon, meaning you can give him a stun on attack weapon. The last toon to make it into my video is the new Governor. When he came out, it really made me shake my head. He is basically in an endless loop. He starts with 100% AP from his special weapons, and then every time he rushes, he gives slow for 1 turn to the enemies and gets 100% AP. This means that every turn he is able to rush and apply slow, which makes him another character that needs to be controlled on the first turn. So it's been getting really frustrating having all of these OP toons come out with very few tools on how to handle them. It really feels like it's all about who spends the most, rather than who knows how to play the game the best. An honorable toon mention goes out to Charlie, by the way, as well as Diego and Tobin. And if you feel like I missed any ridiculously good or ridiculously bad toons, feel free to leave it in the comment section below.